Good morning and welcome to the Morning Breath live stream where we start our day with coherence. I'm your host, Jeremy Tennell, systems designer and coherence coach. This is week four. What is this? This is week 12 of day 57 of our 14-week journey entitled The Path of Personal Transformation. This week we're going to be deep diving into personal coherence practices of self-regulation, self-reflection, self-awareness, and self-inquiry. Yesterday, I was traveling and had some technical difficulties on making a connection. I was in and out for just a little bit. We were going to go over self-reflection, but we've covered it in the past and we'll cover it again in the future. So we're just gonna roll right past it for today. Today, we continue this exploration of coherence practices through the subject of self-regulation. Not suppression, not emotional numbness, not pretending everything is okay, but developing the capacity to choose your response instead of being ruled by reaction. Your response is your responsibility, not because you control everything that happens to you, but because your response shapes what happens next. And the truth is, most people are not responding, not consciously anyways. They are reacting automatically from stress and fear, ego, and nervous system activation, from old conditioning and unresolved pain. And when reaction becomes automatic, we stop exercising choice. There was a time in my life where I thought being emotionally intense meant I was being honest. If I was frustrated, people knew it. If I was overwhelmed, it leaked over everything. If I was activated, my nervous system took over. At the time, I was justifying it by saying, well, I'm just being real. But eventually, I had to confront something difficult. Being emotionally reactive does not automatically make you emotionally honest. Often, it means your nervous system is driving you. And I began realizing that self-regulation was not about controlling my emotions, something I was told and taught to do growing up. It was about learning how to stay present enough to choose my response, to pause and breathe, to recognize activation before it becomes projection, to realize emotion was communicating with me and signaling me, not choosing for me or controlling me. Because once we become dysregulated, our perception narrows. And when our perception narrows, our ability to think clearly, listen deeply, and respond responsibly begins to collapse. Self-regulation is responsibility, the ability to choose our response. And that ability requires practice, because regulation is not just mental. It involves your thoughts and your nervous system, listening to your emotional state, working through your psychology, engaging your breath, bringing attention to bear, and taking accountability for your attitude. Most people think self-regulation means don't feel, but real regulation means feel fully without losing yourself inside the feeling. That's very different, because emotions are information, but emotions are not always instructions. And maturity develops when we learn how to engage emotion without surrendering agency. One of the most important realizations in personal growth is understanding that activation changes perception. When your nervous system is dysregulated, you interpret differently. You hear differently. You assume less. You react slower. And often, when people call truth is actually just unregulated interpretation. This is why breathwork matters. why awareness is essential, and why slowing down is so important. Because regulation expands choice, and choice creates freedom. That is personal sovereignty. Without regulation, we become predictable. We loop automatically through trigger, reaction, consequence. We may be loud, but we're still predictable. Again and again and again, these loops make us very obvious. But regulation interrupts that loop. It creates space, and inside that space, wisdom becomes possible. From a systems perspective, self-regulation stabilizes relational environments. Dysregulated people create dysregulated systems, and dysregulated systems struggle to produce coherent outcomes. Families, organizations, leadership structures, all of them are influenced by emotionally regulated individuals within them. Because nervous systems are relational, they affect one another. And when individuals lack regulation, fear spreads quickly, conflict escalates rapidly, reactivity becomes normalized. But regulated presence creates a different possibility. It slows escalation, expands listening, it creates safety, it builds trust. And this is why self-regulation is not just personal work, it is community responsibility. Culturally, we often train into reaction. Algorithms reward outrage. Media amplifies fear, and social platforms monetize activation. Over time, people begin confusing intensity with clarity. But volume is not wisdom. Reaction is not strength. And impulsivity is not authenticity. Real strength is the ability to remain grounded while engaging complexity, to disagree without dehumanizing, to feel emotion without weaponizing it, to stay accountable to outcomes that are honest, productive, and life-giving for self, others, and community. That is coherence. So today, pay attention to your reactions, not with shame, but with curiosity. Notice what activates you, what speeds you up, what narrows your perception, what pulls you out of presence. And then ask yourself, do I want my reactions choosing my life? Because self-regulation is not about becoming less human. It's about becoming more intentional. And every moment you pause before reacting, you strengthen your ability to shape a different future. Today, spend a little bit of time with your journals and explore these questions. What situations most quickly dysregulate me? What physical signs tell me I'm activated? How do my reactions affect people around me? And what would change if I practiced responding instead of reacting? One of the essential keys to choosing your response rather than reacting is to engage your autonomic nervous system once it's activated. And the way you do that is breath. We have, in my dissertation that I'm working on, the number of studies that are coming back with very repeatable, solid results of how intentional breath engages your nervous system in a conscious way is incredible. The data's there. We don't teach it. It's not in our K-12 education. But learning how to self-regulate is a key human skill. So let's practice it for about 6 minutes today. So we're going to sit up straight. Our feet are on the ground. And if we're going to be engaging for self-regulation, then one of the things we want to do is we want to connect the intelligence centers of our cognitive system. We've discussed this before. There's about a billion neurons in your brain, but there are 50,000 neurons in your heart, and they sit right at the top of the heart, like a little heart brain. And there's about a billion neurons or a million neurons through the lining of your intestinal tract. And these are connected through the largest nerve bundle in the body called the vagus nerve. And more signals are moving up that nervous bundle than moving down. Your brain is not telling this area of your body what to do. In fact, these areas are communicating to the brain what's going on. And when these things are out of sync, your intuition, your intuitive intelligence, your emotional intelligence, your logical intelligence, when these are out of sync, you are out of coherence. And so in order to bring them into sync, we can utilize breath. So we cover our heart because we're targeting it, and that's what we're going to target today. And we're going to breathe in for about 6 seconds through our nose. So here, let's breathe in. And out through our mouth for 6. Let's do it again. And again. And we want to maintain that pattern. In for 6, out for 6. Now let's bring in a silent gratitude list as we breathe. I am thankful for the day. I am thankful for the opportunities. I am thankful for the birds chirping. I am thankful for the sunrise. I am thankful for my support system. Keep your breath and your gratitude going. Expand your gratitude as you go. Let's maintain this pattern for the next few minutes. If you get distracted, return to your breath and your gratitude. Keep practicing. We're not going for perfection. We're just going for practice. Stay with it. Let's breathe in through our nose, deep breath. Out through your mouth with a sigh. Come back into the space with one more. If this resonates, stay with the practice, because regulation is not built in a single moment. It's strengthened every time you pause, breathe, and choose consciously. Self-regulation is response ability, the ability to choose your response instead of surrendering your life to reaction. Take a breath. I'll see you tomorrow morning.